Hi guys, I wanted to talk honestly today about something that is fucking me off. I know it's controversial in so many neurodivergent spaces, and you get these wishy-washy, whimsical people that are like, oh, AuDHD is a superpower and all that shit. And I think sometimes saying that out loud can make people feel uncomfortable when we're saying that it's not. Because there's been such a huge TikTok-like trend movement around celebrating neurodivergence, which I completely appreciate, understand, and support. Yes, people should be aware of what neurodivergence is. But I feel like everybody is jumping on this bandwagon like it's become a fashion. And yes, there are beautiful parts of ADHD. There's creativity, empathy, passion and hyperfocus, deep emotions, but them deep emotions have fucked me up so many times. They're not something that I would say is a superpower. But I also think there's a side of ADHD that people never talk about, and specifically them people on TikTok, unless they're trying to get likes. And honestly, this side can be fucking hard. Because for me personally, ADHD or AuDHD or any kind of neurodivergence isn't like, oh shit, I forgot my keys again. This is really cute. Oh, I've just walked into the room and I don't know what I've walked in here for. Like, that's the tip of the iceberg, and I mean the very fucking tip. Because for me personally, that's not the greatest of issues. Sometimes I can't regulate my emotions to the point where I want to fucking die, like I'm spiraling. Sometimes I'll be sitting in a dark room and someone would turn the light on and I'll feel like slapping myself in the face. It overloads me so much mentally. I'm overwhelmed by the tiniest things. I start so many things and I finish none of them. At times it's made me, well, not more than at times, it's made me a shit mum. I haven't been able to do them things that I'm meant to be doing, them executive functioning tasks that I should be doing to regulate my kids and get them into a routine, because I don't know my head from my ass sometimes. It's interrupting people, interrupting them constantly to the point where they think that you're a nasty person because you never let them speak. But it's just because you're so excited that you want to share with them, but they think you're a prick. I feel overwhelmed by everything. I forget the most important things. I've forgotten how much my kids weighed at birth. I forgot their first words, and I forgot all of them important things that I should remember. And I don't know if that's just down to ADHD or if it's because I'm shit. I feel chaotic. My brain feels chaotic. Not so much lately. The last couple of years I've been a lot better. But my life was chaotic. And I've been exhausted sometimes. Simply exhausted just from trying to function, just like everyone else. But I'm the only one that I know that can't manage to do it. So no, it's not I just forgot my keys. How cute. It's not that. It's not quirkiness. It's actually fucked my life. I feel like social media's turned it into this marketable personality trait. But with a lot of people, specifically myself, I know, it can be really deeply disabling, and it can affect their children and so many different aspects of their life. It's had such a knock-on effect on my family. My mum and dad have suffered because of my ADHD. I've suffered, my health suffered, my kids have suffered. They've seen me get into bad relationships or pick up bad habits and self-medicate because of my ADHD. How is that cute or quirky? There are days when my brain genuinely feels like it's fighting against me. Days where simply tasks just feel physically painful. And days where I can't prioritise anything properly. Not even having a shower. There's days where I don't want to get out of bed because I think about having a shower. And I know I need a shower. But it's ridiculous. Like when all them girls are like, oh, self-care and self-care. Well, there's been times when I haven't had a shower for 2 weeks because I just can't self-care right now. There's days where that feels physically painful. There's days when I'm so overstimulated, I want to crawl out of my own skin. There's days where, when my children were children, which they're not children unfortunately anymore, they're adults, I was so overstimulated by their behaviour that I've said and done things that I shouldn't have ever said and done. There's days where one small inconvenience sends my nervous system into complete fuckery. And I think what hurts sometimes is the feeling that you're not allowed to say this. Because maybe it's not just my ADHD, because all of these TikTokers with these ADHD symptoms, they just forget their keys. Well, I forgot my whole life. Like, if you don't constantly call ADHD a gift or a superpower, then you're somehow being negative or not accepting yourself. Or maybe you're feeling ADHD in a different way to what they're feeling it. But I think honesty really matters, because I know there are people listening to this who feel exhausted by their ADHD and then feel guilty for not seeing it as magical, because quite often I don't see it as magical unless magical is shit. And I don't think you have to force positivity into something that genuinely impacts your daily life in difficult ways. For me, acceptance has looked less like ADHD is my superpower and more like, this is my brain. Some parts are beautiful and some parts are fucked. But both exist at the same time and I have to do my best. I don't hate myself for having ADHD. But I also don't want to romanticize the suffering, so you guys think, oh, maybe your ADHD is different because I just forget my keys and you forget to go to the toilet and wet yourself. Because that's what some of us are going through. Burnout isn't fun. Dysregulation isn't fun. Executive dysfunction isn't fun. Feeling emotionally overwhelmed all the time, that's not fun for me. That's not fun for people that have had to be around me and people I've lost because they're sick of that shit. Struggling to keep up with basic life tasks isn't fun. And I think a lot of neurodivergent people are quietly grieving how hard life has felt, while simultaneously trying to convince themselves that they should be grateful for this superpower that's been bestowed upon them. I think we're allowed to feel both. You can appreciate your neurodivergent brain, but you can struggle so deeply with it. You can love yourself and still dislike parts of yourself or things that you've created because of your neurodivergence that are hard. You can recognize your strengths without pretending the difficult parts don't exist. And honestly, I think the more openly we talk about the raw side, the less ashamed people will feel when they're struggling. Because some days, ADHD feels like empathy. And some days, people take the piss out of that empathy. And other days, it feels like your nervous system is held together with duct tape and blind optimism. And I think both deserve to be spoken about so honestly. And I want to be that person to speak about it.